Welcome to Strategy Saturday. I'm Charles Carillo, and today we're going to be discussing what is an accredited investor. Have you always wanted to invest in real estate but didn't have the time, didn't know where to find the deals, couldn't get the funding, and didn't want tenants calling you? Since 2006, I've been buying income-producing properties in great locations that provide us with consistent passive income while we wait for appreciation in the future and take advantage of tax laws while we're waiting. And unlike your financial advisor, we invest alongside our investors in every property we purchase. Check out investwithharborside.com. If you like the idea of investing in real estate, if you like the idea of passive income, partner with us at investwithharborside.com. That's investwithharborside.com. If you've done any research at all online around real estate investing or investing in syndications, you most likely have come across a phrase like we are only accepting accredited investors or open to accredited investors only. But what does it mean to be an accredited investor? According to investor.gov, which is the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission website, only persons who are accredited investors may participate in certain securities offerings. One reason these offerings are limited to accredited investors is to ensure that all participating investors are financially sophisticated and able to fend for themselves or sustain the risk of loss, thus rendering unnecessary the protections that come from a registered offering. Continuing on, unlike offerings registered with the SEC in which certain information is required to be disclosed, companies and private funds, such as hedge fund or venture capital funds, or real estate syndication funds, engaging in these exempt offerings do not have to make prescribed disclosures to accredited investors. These offerings involve unique risks, and you should be aware that you can lose your entire investment. So what is an actual accredited investor? So an accredited investor, in the context of a natural person, includes anyone who has earned income that has exceeded $200,000 or $300,000 together with a spouse in each of the prior 2 years and expects the same for the current year, or has a net worth over $1 million, either alone or together with a spouse, or holds in good standing a Series 7, 65, or 82 license. There are other categories of accredited investors, including the following, which may be relevant to you. Any trust with total assets in excess of $5 million that is directed by a sophisticated person, or certain entity with total investments in excess of $5 million that is directed by a sophisticated person, or any entity in which all of the equity owners are accredited investors. So in this context, a sophisticated person means the person must have, or the company or private fund offering the security has reasonably believes that this person has sufficient knowledge and experience in financial and business matters to evaluate the merits and risks of the prospective investment. So how do you calculate if you are an accredited investor? The income approach is really straightforward. Have you earned $200,000 plus per year in the last 2 years, or $300,000 plus if you're married? The net worth approach involves adding up all of your assets, excluding your primary residence, and subtracting your liabilities. If that net amount exceeds $1 million, you are an accredited investor. The value of your primary residence is not included in your net worth calculation when calculating see if you're an accredited investor. In addition, any mortgage or other loan on the primary residence does not count as a liability up to the fair market value of the residence. If the loan is more than the fair market value of the primary residence, i.e. if your mortgage is underwater, then the loan amount that is over the fair market value counts as a liability against your net worth test. So in other words, if your house, any equity in your property cannot be used when you're doing the net worth calculation. And if you're underwater, you have to subtract what you're underwater from your actual assets. What is the process when investing as an accredited investor? So first, if you're investing into a security, a syndication that is a 506B, you do not need to be accredited. You need to have a relationship with the sponsor, though. This is the main reason here at Harborside Partners. When you join our investor club, we ask you to set up a call with one of our partners. And this call begins the relationship. Even though you do not need to be accredited to invest in a 506B investment, you need to be sophisticated. This is also determined by the sponsor when they speak with you. Do you own a business? Have you had a job around investing? Have you done coaching or taken a course or been to a conference? Have you owned a rental property? Have you invested before in anything? Answering any of these, yes, and you are most likely a sophisticated investor. When you're investing as an accredited investor, you can invest into 506B and 506C deals. In 506B deals, you still need to have a relationship with the sponsor prior to investing. You then will just, as I say, check the box when completing the paperwork for a 506B that you are accredited. When you're investing into a 506C deal, you need to be verified by a third party. And this is where it gets a little tricky. The sponsor will or shouldn't not verify you themselves. You will do this through a verification service or have an attorney, financial advisor, or CPA sign a short accredited investor letter. You get templates of this whenever you're ready to invest. They'll send you one. I have one of these when I passively invest from an attorney of mine that I present to the sponsor when I invest in 506C deals. A couple closing thoughts, though, with accredited investors is that I've spoken to accredited investors who have had less knowledge than some sophisticated investors. However, sophisticated investors cannot invest in 506C deals. The accredited investor rules make it harder for sophisticated investors to access potentially higher return investments. Many experienced sponsors will do 506C deals for a number of reasons. The majority of these private placements in all different walks of life, whether they're hedge funds, whether they're real estate syndications, an attorney told me years back 85% are 506B deals because it's easier for the sponsor when doing it. Now, many experienced sponsors will only do 506C deals for a number of reasons. First, they're able to advertise the deal openly. Online, social media, they can do a billboard, radio, whatever they want to do, TV. You cannot advertise a 506B deal. I personally feel the main reason for sponsors just doing 506C deals is that investors that you attract when you're looking just for accredited investors and with 506C deals. Accredited investors have more money and usually have more experience and knowledge. They are easier to manage, and most of them have invested many times in private security offerings. 506B investors usually are more time intensive. They write smaller checks and are really the ones asking you to lower minimums, which creates more work for the sponsors. Now, if you want to invest in a real estate syndication, but you're not accredited, find sponsors that do 506B deals. 506B deals are actually easier to handle as a sponsor since they do not need to request investor verification. It streamlines the capital raising process for those sponsors. Also, go to investwithharborside.com. Fill out the form and schedule a call with our team if you're a sophisticated or an accredited investor. That is investwithharborside.com. So I hope you enjoyed. Please remember to rate, review, subscribe, submit comments and potential show topics at globalinvestorspodcast.com. Look forward to 2 more episodes next week. See you then.
Nothing in this episode should be considered specific, personal, or professional advice. Any investment opportunities mentioned on this podcast are limited to accredited investors. Any investments will only be made with proper disclosure, subscription documentation, and are subject to all applicable laws. Please consult an appropriate tax, legal, real estate, financial, or business professional for individualized advice. Opinions of guests are their own. Information is not guaranteed. All investment strategies have the potential for profit or loss. The host is operating on behalf of Syndication Superstars, LLC exclusively.